Crazy Joe. Yeah, I'm Crazy Joe. I be running through the snow. Got no pants, got no shirt, got no mother.
Good morning. Welcome to Crazy Joe's Concession Stand, and welcome to the Dog Days of Podcasting 2025. Podcast today for the entire month of August. Go to dogdaysofpodcasting.com for details. A lot of great participants taking part in the Dog Days of Podcasting, and you can hear them all at dogdaysofpodcasting.com if you subscribe to the mega feed, and I believe it is worth doing so. A lot of my friends are on there. And if you are a YouTube viewer, maybe you don't know a lot of these great podcasters, and they're worth knowing. So check them out. You'll be happy you did, I think. Today I was going to talk about Peacemaker. Peacemaker Season 2 premiered last night, and I am so happy that Peacemaker's back. Peacemaker was missed. Terrific show. And to those who don't remember, it premiered in 2022. So it has been since 2022 since we've had a new episode of Peacemaker. That's too long, man. These gaps between these shows, I know there was a writer's strike in there, and there were shakeups at DC, and James Gunn's role at DC was changed. Season 1 of Peacemaker took place in the old universe, the DCEU, and now James Gunn's running the show over there. He wasn't even in charge when the show premiered. Now he's the big man in charge, and the whole universe has changed. And the show has had to deal with that, which is interesting because Season 1 took place in the DCEU to the point where Flash and Aquaman, played by Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa, guest starred. They were in the season finale last year as Flash and Aquaman. And now the show is set in the same universe as James Gunn's Superman. And it's funny. I don't want to give it away. I'm not going to give it away. But the show in Season 2, Episode 1 deals with it right off the bat, that this is not in the same universe as last season. And the way they deal with it is really funny. And it doesn't even happen in the meat of the episode. It happens in the recap of what came before. So don't skip the previously on, because it's worth watching the previously on, because that's where you're going to get your explanation, quote unquote, as to how we got where we are now. It all reminds me of Deep Space Nine. On Deep Space Nine, they did an episode called Trials and Tribulations, where the Deep Space Nine crew went back in time to the original series, and they ended up on Space Station K7 during the events of the episode Trouble with Tribbles. And obviously the makeup for the Klingons had changed between over 30 years. So the Klingons from the Trouble with Tribbles are sitting at a table, and Worf is at another table, and the DS9 crew gets wind that there's Klingons at the next table, and they look over and they do not recognize them as Klingons because the makeup is completely different. And they ask Worf what happened, and Worf says, "We do not discuss it with outsiders." And that's all you get. That is Worf's whole explanation. We do not discuss it with outsiders. And it's brilliant because it acknowledges it, and it shuts it down, and it doesn't give you a convoluted answer that isn't going to hold up. Like, it's just brilliantly done. Of course, Star Trek ruined that a few years later when they did a 3-part episode of Enterprise delving into the topic again that never should have been mentioned again. It should have ended there. Worf's explanation was perfect. They were never going to top that. And sure enough, they didn't top that, because when they did it on Enterprise, it was fine. It was perfectly fine. But it just would have been much better to just leave it as at Worf's, "We don't discuss it with outsiders. Case closed. Don't say another word." But Peacemaker does, in a similar fashion, deal with the change. And it's great. The show hasn't missed a beat. It's just as funny and as entertaining as it was last season. And it's firmly set in the DCU, the new DCU established this summer with with Superman. Nathan Fillion. I'm not giving anything away here. This is in the trailers. Nathan Fillion and Isabel Merced make guest appearances as Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl, reprising their roles from the Superman movie. Frank Grillo reprises his role from Superman and from the Creature Commandos animated series as Rick Flag Sr., the father of Rick Flag Jr., who Peacemaker killed in the Suicide Squad movie a couple of years ago. And we're going to be dealing with that as we go along. And it's just a great first episode. And I can't wait to see how this season plays out. Apparently, we're going to get some guest stars, some DC guest stars that are going to help us to establish this universe. A little deep cut for the hardcore DC fans. We get a cameo appearance in this episode from a really obscure DC character that probably nobody but me and Gary Lindros is even going to know. But the character Dumb Bunny, who's a member of the Inferior Five, makes a quick appearance in this episode. Seeing Dumb Bunny translated to the screen wasn't on my bingo card, but thank you for that, James Gunn. James Gunn loves to go for the obscure characters. So yeah, now check it out. Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 1 is now on HBO Max. It's worth watching. If you saw Superman this summer and liked it, this is your next step in the brand new DCU, and it's delightful just as Season 1 was. All right, everyone. I'll talk to you tomorrow with another Dog Days episode. Until then, keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas
with the plastic feet.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Tell everyone you meet.
Keep wearing those pajamas
with the back door flap.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Don't open it, it's a trap. Oh, it's a trap. Some people call them PJs, some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander pajamas, but no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
I know we're having fun.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
And now the song is done.